justice delivered with the refusal to stay bulldozing by Yogi government. Kudos to the Apex Court. The Apex Court's decision to give a stay to Jamiat Ulama-e-Hind petitioners, terming the bulldozing of those violent protesters across Uttar Pradesh cities who are against the constitutional rights of people to protest. The protests were held at Prayagraj, Kanpur and Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh. And the Apex Court's refusal has come as a shot in the arm to all those state governments which wanted to rein in illegal protests which caused damage to the public properties by hooligans patronized by some political parties. In its wisdom, the Lordship of the Apex Court dealing with a petition, however, wanted the UP government to ensure the due legal process is followed and sought a response within the next 3 days. In fact, the protests across the country began from the day the centre has taken path-breaking initiatives like the CAA and farm reforms. No sooner did the Modi government storm back to power. On both occasions, the Apex Court disappointed the law-abiding citizens for not speaking its mind to restrain people from legally occupying public places like national highways or main thoroughfares to cause inconvenience to the lakhs of commuters. And the soft peddling central leadership too has not shown its spine to drive its point home, impressing the Apex Court for taking tough actions. But the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, who had shown grit and spine that his government will not spare those who vitiate peaceful environs and create anarchy on the streets to create law and order problems. Well, protesting of any citizen is his or her fundamental right. But should that right lead to chaos and cause damage to private and public properties? Certainly, no provision for the Constitution gives that right to any individual. That's loud and clear. And it was Adityanath who started naming and shaming those who indulged in such violence and broke the law, besides damaging public properties, by putting out all those accused faces in the big hoardings across the state. Later on, identifying the individuals, he had also started penalizing them for the damage they caused by recovering such an amount from their properties. He had also used bulldozers to bring down their living spaces as they are unwanted souls in the society. He applied the same yardstick even in the case of illegal constructions owned by the political class, irrespective of their party identifications. As a result, he attained the name of Bulldozer Yogi. Although the opposition tried to exploit his bulldozing actions before the recent assembly polls, Yogi came out with flying colors as the people endorsed his strictest actions against the anti-social as well as anti-national elements. He continued to ride strong on his determinations to maintain law and order at all costs across the biggest state of India. Yogi intensified using bulldozers over illegal constructions, to begin with from Noida, skirting the national capital Delhi, and later over unauthorized protests against the court verdict in Gyanvapi Mosque, where shivling was found, or over alleged remarks against Prophet Muhammad by BJP's official spokesperson Nupur Sharma in a TV debate, and party activist Naveen Jindal using blasphemy comments on a social media platform like Twitter. As if those communal frenzy issues are not enough for hooligans and their political patronizers to take to the streets and create mayhem across the country, the Enforcement Directorate summons to question the former Congress Party President and MP Rahul Gandhi. Even his mother Sonia, who is heading as stopgap president of the party, had also received summons in the alleged money laundering link to the National Herald case. Well, she was admitted to the hospital due to pre-COVID findings, and her son had been grilled by the ED sleuths for the past 3 days, opposing summons to their leader, terming it as a witch hunt act of the ruling NDA government headed by the BJP. Hundreds of workers had taken to streets across the country, besides in the national capital, and their protests also turned into violence. Reports suggest that the so-called National Party protests across the state, especially in Bihar, where a train was reportedly dodged, and in Hyderabad, 2 buses were damaged. Even the former Congress MP Renuka Chowdhury, seen catching hold of the collar of police officer, has gone viral on social media. And she is known for such unruly behavior in the past too as a Telugu Desam party member. In that backdrop, many feel the apex court's decision not only to give a stay to the demolition of all those rioters involved in creating mayhem on the streets and damaging government and private properties was indeed the right verdict at the right time. In this regard, the duplicity of Congress-partnered government in Jharkhand got exposed. This was after the brave state police's decision to rioters in huge posters, identical to the UP model, however opted to withdraw them due to the mounting pressure from the ruling clique. Now, it's the Indian electorate who has to decide which party they wish to choose in the coming elections: tolerant government machinery or intolerant opposition parties and their supporters. The constitution-abiding citizens or those who are defying constitution norms. And the Congress calling their protests across the country peaceful satyagraha is nothing short of insulting none other than Mahatma Gandhi. This is MS Purthy for Orange News 9 TV.